One of the biggest World Championship qualifiers has come and gone, and these results are actually very interesting. Don't make 30% of you that have not smashed the ever-living crap out of that subscribe button. Smash it so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. WCQ China has wrapped up here, and for those of you that don't know, 72 participants unfolded in this. This is the equivalent to our WCQ, but the person or the winner for this gets invited to the 2023 World Championship. So, breakdown for this event here. Super Heavy Samurai ended up winning. And no crap. Yeah, Super Heavy is an insanely crazy deck. As Shizu Tier Elements here, actually on the rollback, bringing it on up here. A little bit surprising to see that. And then we have Ishizu Unchained Labyrinth. I haven't seen that concoction yet. That's interesting. We also have Labyrinth tying in for 4th. So both Labyrinth variants here came in 3rd and 4th, but two different extreme variants here. Virtual World also made a top 8 cut. Wow! Okay, and then you have my favorite deck of all time. Grass, Super Heavy Samurai, Ishizu, Vernal Sith, Emancipator. How many engines can you put into a deck and expect it to work? Well, that's your classic example of all of these different engines coming together. We also had a Purely Duelist stepping on up here, too. To be honest with you, Purely has been an absolute menace wrecking out here. And we also had Tenyi Sword Soul doing its thing as well. Now, if you're looking at this top cut representation, I'll be honest with you, it is pretty diverse for what it is, but the problem is the power scaling is so much further ahead than a lot of what we've already seen across the board for the rest of the metagame, that it's very troublesome to see. So hopefully, we are heading into a ban list here for the OCG. So hopefully we will see a difference in that scaling dial back here, at least somewhat. So winning the event here was our Super Heavy Samurai deck. Now the first little bits and things that I'm going to tell you that we see here typically are going to be pretty straightforward. I mean, the entire deck is 40 monsters, obviously, as many Link 1s as you can process through here. The fact that makes this deck so much more devastating than the rest of, the metagame is they have access to Scythe. You thought that what the TCG was going through with Super Heavy was toxic? No. This deck takes it one step further and proceeds to lock the opponent so they can't actually play the game. And it is really bad. Also, to be fair, this deck is a massively strong competitor for when it comes to the game. So I do expect here that we'll see a cleanup on this, because watching this deck play for the event was actually insane. Like, kudos to Super Heavy Samurai for pulling off the W here. Down here, second place, Ishizu Tier. Now, to be honest with you, we've seen this deck do its thing. Globe Bulb, Chaos Ruler, a lot of the other things that we have seen with this deck, it has been the same monster that it has been for quite some time. Obviously, Diviner, actually Fairy Tail Snow and Chaos Ruler, I still think are the main driving forces that make this deck a little bit unfair, to be honest with you. And I do think that we could see, some sort of cleanup for this too, because for as much as we've attempted to dial back the scale on this deck, the fact that this is still a top tier competitor is actually crazy. And I love the fact down here that we are citing the @Golem Earth guy, so you also have it as a super poly target. But once again, this deck has so many things in it to try to bridge the gap from all of the different events. It's crazy. Next up is our Ishizu Unchained Labyrinth deck. Now, what makes this Unchained? Well, you're playing, it's basically Fiend support built into the deck. Remember, the new Unchained Link monster does require Fiend monsters to make it, but you actually get access to it. Now, this deck is playing the new rollback trap card that lets you, this card is so busted, you get to banish it and then basically make it become another traps effect or something like that. The deck, or the card, is actually pretty crazy. Kudos to Labyrinth finding a way to kind of incorporate that into the build, because that is so good. It is also nice to see, the Fiend synergy kind of coming together right now for IKEA. Like, this deck has had a very interesting lifespan about it, just trying to find ways to incorporate things. And then, of course, my favorite Gamma with the one driver down there. Gotta love the bricks. We have our other Labyrinth deck. Now, this is what we're going to call the standard of the standard here, because it's not doing that fancy Unchained crap that you just saw up top, but we are playing Extravagance so that you can get to the draw power. That's why you're going to see 3 Chaos Angel here, along with, as much other power that you can kind of generate with this deck. But all real things to be considered here, this is very standard, especially when you compare it to our list, but they're just citing the DDV and the Eradicator. That way they can pull it up. They are main decking the Dimensional Barrier. Honestly, since you have so many different decks that you got to be aware of, having that Dimensional Barrier to at least hit some of those more, I would say, metagame picks actually might not be a terrible call. Your job is to make sure you can cover as many bases as you can, and that's usually going to put you in a decent position to do so. So, once again, you have a strong deck here that covers its bases. Where in the world did Virtual World come? Oh. I see we're playing the Mayakashi trap in here as well. So they are really getting creative out here with the things that you can do with this, because this rollback trap card means that we can do the Mayakashi play and laugh at the opponent. Is that something relevant? Well, if Virtual World, of all things out here, is taking advantage of this, and it's not like it's a crazy difference, but that is kind of hilarious that we're now seeing how many shenanigans can you pull off with this. I don't know, but considering one more little degeneracy is always going to be something nice. But I really didn't expect to see Virtual World, competing in such a high-level tournament anytime soon. Now is our favorite 60 card pile, the Adamancipator Grass Super Heavy Ishizu Vernal Sith Rock deck. Now, to be fair, this is all just how many engines can we stick together and viably make this work. To be honest with you, the deck is cracked out of its mind. When this deck gets the chance to start seeing gameplay, and, especially when you can access the powerful Braver Dragon and set up, a hand rip with the Smoke Grenade, this deck is nuts. And especially, I expect we'll see some sort of dial back with the possibility of Block Dragon or, the possibility of Super Heavy also getting, some sort of limitation for this. But as it is, this is one of the super largest combo variations that you can kind of mess around with and have your opponent go, oh, what am I supposed to do? It's literally the definition of how many extenders can you have? And it's pretty busted. All right, what else we got down here? Oh, hi, Purely. How are you? Yes, the Make My Towers and Pass. Now, the fact that this deck did not do better, I think, facilitates a lot of the differences in the current OCG metagame here, where you're seeing different ideas kind of be brought together. Now, this does play Azalea, which is pretty cool for spot removal. This deck is literally just hand traps, talents, and then, the little splice in between for all the Purely cards. If you're expecting Discount Zeus Turbo to survive in an upcoming list, to be honest with you, I don't think it's going to. I do like how this build is playing a Dark World package down here as well. You do see that we do play the Snows, the Brow, and we're also playing the Rhoda Searcher as well for Dark World. So this build taking a little bit more advantage of some of the differences and the kind of already established metagame over there. And last but not least down here, we have our little Sword Soul 10E variant. Now, this is what I would almost consider old reliable at this point. Like, look how standard the main deck is at this point. You don't really see a lot of key differences between the things that you get with this versus a lot of the other metagame, minus, maybe the Exciton into the Zeus. But this deck has been such a strong competitor for quite some time that I don't foresee this actually, changing anytime soon. So you gotta love old reliable out here. So that is the wrap up for this particular WCQ. And like I said, these results, it's amazing just to see all of the differences out here. So please, leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think. I'll see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Peace. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.